What is up, Rad Potential YouTube? Welcome to today's video. We're not really going to be working on the RX7 today because got to get some parts ordered for it. Having a couple fueling issues. I replaced the pump, the fuel filter was clogged. It barely made it to Cars and Coffee and back, but we didn't have to trailer it, which was a huge win. So, got to drop the tank back out of this thing. It's kind of going to be a little bit of process this week, but the shop is going to start changing a little bit here. Not as in we're making it bigger, which I wish we could. I wish I could just like raise the roof another 6 feet and put a lift in here, but sometimes that's just not in the cards. However, we can add some cool tools, which we're going to do, and we're going to reconfigure basically this whole quadrant over here, aside from where the air compressor was. So, if you don't have a giant air compressor in your shop, get one. These are huge and loud. So if you can put it outside, that'd be a big win. And we may move this outside at some point because I built a lean-to back here, but we have to move the brand new Mazda engine, which this project will be starting probably in 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to pull this brand new engine out of here, tear it all apart. We're going to lift that, move it over here. I'm going to build some new shelves in here, and then we're going to set up a really neat, super cool tool in this area here in a little bit today. But if y'all watched the previous video, I mentioned that as we're cleaning out the shop, I'm going to show you guys some of the stuff that, you know, I could sell or you guys could come and get. I really don't want to ship anything that's big, but to give you kind of the scope of what I've got, here's a couple things just laying around, and then I'll show you when we go put this down in the car some of the other stuff. So I have a whole bunch of GSL SE, this like RE EGI fuel injection. Literally, if you want it, cost of shipping plus maybe 20 bucks for me to get to the post office and back in my big gas guzzling diesel truck, I would ship or sell any of this stuff to you. I've got some flywheels and stuff just from an assortment. RX8 flywheels, some 79 RX7 flywheels. I've got RX8 radios, which are junk. I've got 2 sets of twin turbos that have been sitting on my shelf for a really long time. So if you need like parts off of this, could potentially part these out. The manifolds aren't too cracked on these, and I have one 99 set and one 93 set. So that's basically that stuff. And then same thing, if there's little things you need. I know I was making a joke in the last video if you needed a cigarette lighter trim that I probably wouldn't sell it. But if there's little stuff like that that you need that I have a bunch of, just like this little box over here, I've got some like 84, 85 interior bits because I parted out a few of these cars, and you know, like if you need I have no idea what this is, but if you need this, I have it. Same thing with like ignition and AC relays and stuff from 84, 85 first gens and even the 79 stuff. So that's kind of what I've dug out for now. The other thing, I think I've got 3 of these. So if you need one of these, this is shifter surround. I cannot guarantee that it hasn't been super glued and stuff, but I've got some nice ones. Let me know in the comments below. But let's see this shop transform. In addition, we're gonna, because we've been slaving on projects, I haven't been doing much cleaning. So this is what the shop looks like from the outside. It's just as small as it feels on the inside. So we're gonna clean this up too. Move some of these wheels, move my barn wood, and do all that. So expect a really neat transformation. And in the next couple weeks, we'll start to kind of reconfigure this area, make the shop nicer, because since we're not building a whole car, we can actually focus on the area that cars get built in so that the next project is even better than the one we just finished. And we're getting rid of the fridge that I never used. It was in there for 5 years. Never plugged it in. It just took up space. We're not going to open it. We're going to leave that for the next guy. So, get excited. Let's transform this spot. Let's see what other good stuff we can dig up out of here. Look at that. There's a Series 4 and Series 5 mass airflow sensor sitting right there. Somebody might want that. Stack of junk radios, an FC headlight cover, and whole headlight motor thing. My full RX8 interior. There's a whole gold mine of stuff just up in the rafters in here. Ready? Work smarter, not harder. good to me. Holy cow, guys, the shop is transforming this week. Shelves are built. A lot of the stuff on these shelves are what was over here prior, but we have added some stuff. Some of this stuff did get cycled over from my engine shelves, but basically, y'all want the short rundown. I got some good old Coney oranges chilling over here for the front of this thing if I ever need them. They're in real good shape. Holley manifold, Holley carb, Racing Beat 465 deal. Actually, it's a 465, but it's not a Racing Beat one. You can tell by some of this fun creativeness happening here. But regardless, Holley 465, Weber 48, downdraft, 12A manifold. There's a 13B manifold hiding back there too. A couple neat things, an old turbo with a torched center bearing, a little wraparound Weber deal, an S4 turbo, an intake or exhaust manifold, some boxes, flywheels, etc., etc. Y'all kind of saw some of this stuff coming out. My collection of wheel spacers that I bought, trying to make vert wheels work on this, but none of this stuff's really for sale at all. This diff could potentially be for sale. This is a series, I don't know, series 5 or 4, but it's a Turbo 2 differential, complete with the stub shafts. And the coolest part about this is that it has an FD Torsen limited slip in it. This is not a stock T2 diff. This is kind of like the best FC diff you could buy. So I would definitely part ways with this. I've been tripping on it a bunch of times in my shop. I have no idea. I've never ran it in a car, but you know, from sitting around, it could be a little noisy. Could have some surface rust in it. It still turns. I'd probably at least pull the pumpkin out and look at it, or put it in your car. Risk it for the biscuit, so they like to say. My engines, which have been moved from by the fireplace to over here in order left to right, just, you know, kind of like a what's for sale / shop tour video this week because I'm overhauling everything, but GSLSE 6-port, it would probably run, but it's been sitting for a long time before even I got it, which I've freed it up. The old green RX7 engine, and then my full bridge 12A. So, and as y'all can also see, we're working on some new additions for the tools around here at the shop so we can start building some stuff, which is going to be cool. The other thing that I've got, which I've already offered this to a couple people that I know might want it, but this is a brand new in the bag. I literally just took it out of the box to bring it over here. This is a B&R S3. Now, if you know B&R supercars, they make all sorts of cool parts, especially like vintage. They're not really vintage, but they've been in the RX7 series 4 or 5 FC turbo game and then the FD turbo game for a while. So this is a series, like their S3 version, but this is a series 4 turbo. So if you can't tell, it's got the unequal size ports here. A series 5, these are both the same. There's a little like transfer valve for quicker spool, I think, in a series 4 in the little lower intake manifold, or lower exhaust manifold. But this is brand new. I bought this whenever I had my FC. I had planned on potentially running it in this car. That would have been a ball and turbo for mad quick spool, but ended up going way bigger, single turbo style, instead of stock FC turbo location style. So this deal is for sale. This has never been ran on any car. It has literally lived its whole life inside this bag. I sent them, obviously, a core, and they redid it. No cracks or anything. And this, actually, like, my finger catches on something small right there, but they rebuilt it. So, obviously, good enough to pass. Ooh, what's his name? Brian over there, I think. But I talked to him, and with my FC that I had at the time, my power goals, it was on a 6-port engine. This was going to be the perfect turbo for that, but it's literally brand new, never been ran. So let me know if you're interested in that. Definitely not full list price for it, but a fair price, and I can ship it to you. So that'd be a cool part to get rid of. I got some stuff over here that's generally not for sale. This is like the close your eyes and don't look at all the cool parts I've got hoarded away on this shelf. including like all my sweet, good 12A housings I got up there, because 12A stuff's hard to get. E-shafts for days. If you need an E-shaft for anything, find any rotary engine builder. They got a bajillion of them laying around. I know between me and Charles, we have a ton of E-shafts, some transmissions and whatnot, parts for first gens. This axle is actually super cool, and this is going to go in one of the like next quick projects we're going to do here for me. Some like fun rally test practice car, we'll say. Definitely not this one, but I got another chassis, so we're going to do something cool with it with my other engines. But this axle is actually from Rod Millen's 1982, I believe, or his 81 RX7. So this is a drum brake axle. You can tell because it's got 4 bolts on the flanges. That's been modified for discs using some like early GSL style rotors and brakes. These fancy ducks. It's got some writing on it. On the back of it, it's like Millen spool 3.9, I think, is what this is, or maybe this one's a 410. But this is a small bearing axle. This thing's gonna be sweet. I'm excited to put it in something. And then I've got like 5/8 or 3/4 of a GSLSE axle up there. So I've sold some parts out of that axle that's back there, and it's kind of just, it's a spare parts axle, you know, for when I grenade this one if I need it or whatever. But let's take, I guess here y'all can have a quick lap. This is something that I thought about this last night whenever I was planning on filming this video, but ignore my smashed oil cooler that doesn't leak. But these are my 83 LE wheels. I have one build planned for the future that is going to be 4x110, aside from my missile car thing that I'm going to put together, which I just told you about. But I don't know that I would ever necessarily have a car that these would go on in the future. I know these wheels are basically unobtainium. I've spent many hours polishing and repolishing these lips. I've had these wheels basically since I bought my silver car. Took a fun journey to St. Louis to get these from my buddy James. Flat tire along the way, the whole deal. It was a great adventure. Super Bowl Sunday of 2015. I remember it almost exactly. But I don't know that I would necessarily just like straight up part with them, but maybe for like a pretty reasonable offer, if you know what I mean. I've got a set of Volk Engineering mesh wheels that are 13x7. True 3-piece, split them apart, the whole deal. And I think I would rather have those wheels on that project I'm talking about than the LE wheels. The Volk wheels are just a little more stancy, and I'm kind of just into that look versus the other ones. The other thing that I can make mention of, and in the silver car is where they're at, but we're going to come down here to this one, is I have a decent amount of FB front calipers because I was running FB calipers on the silver car, and it, you know, they like to act up, so I had a couple of them seize on me, had to replace them, rebuild a couple. But if you need core calipers, you know, I've got some. The other parts are, as I mentioned just a little bit ago in the video, I think, is GSLSE stuff. So that's a GSLSE MAF, GSLSE ECU. That's a box of lug nuts, some brake calipers and stuff. GSLSE throttle body. Basically, if you need a GSL SE engine wiring harness, I think I've got 2 or 3 of those here. That stuff, those are parts I am 100% confident I'm never going to use ever, 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 ever. So if you have a GSL SE that you want to keep stock, let me know. I can get those parts over to you. How about that door creak? So, same thing. I can show you in here because we're going to un-GSL SE this. So like if you need a cruise control unit, let me know. You need a cold start assist bottle, let me know. Charcoal canister, let me know. These are all parts that a bajillion people probably have laying around, but like I know I'm not going to need them. So cheap to free to a good home if you want them. Otherwise they're going to sit down in the parts yard. So let's grab the rotary truck and we'll go down to the parts yard and look at where I've got all that stuff stored and kind of walk through a few things and go from there. If we want to do donuts, you got to take all the important things out of your Repu truck bed. Otherwise, when you do a donut in this and you have, say, a housing back here, it'll slide and it'll dent your bed out because this is only one wall of sheet metal. So any dents in, and dent out, dents out. Fun fact. How about this? Cold start. It's been raining and my truck, you know, leaks a little bit. Oh yeah. Little like, I think this one's like a pumper and a half. Oh, that was a little too much. There we go. This thing is 100% one of my favorite vehicles ever to take to car shows, because you cruise through the car show like this, just blah, 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 blah. I don't even know why I'm making the engine noises, because you can hear them, but you cruise in, everybody looks at you, realizes that it's not a super cool restored bad mamma jam of a truck and it's got 16 coats of paint on it, it's all falling off, but everybody still is like, that's sick. Or they're like a Karen and look at me like, why am I blowing their kid in a stroller's eardrums out because my truck's loud? So we have arrived. If you have a rotary engine, it's got good compression. You don't have to be scared about turning it off cold, guys. It'll restart. It's only those like worn out, tired engines that don't like to start. So it's been a good gloomy day here in Tennessee, but let's start over here in the German section of my parts yard. Y'all probably don't need anything off of this, but I met some guy at a car show once and I've got the IS front lip on this thing. I'll bring that to one of these car shows and try to find you and give you that front lip. So this car, basically nothing on this car's for sale. It's an SA, so I got to keep all this stuff, but I got flywheels for days. I've got some brake calipers in there for days. Those look like FB calipers, I think. It looks like a FB front caliper. 6-port manifold, an old, like, if you need points style distributors, okay, 79 distributors, let me know. I got like 3 or 4 of them. FC front covers over there, headlight bucket, some interior plastic. The main things for me that I would be willing to get rid of, and like I said, there's probably a bajillion people out there with this stuff, and maybe it's just easier for you to find it from me, but I don't have any plans, because now I have a 79, to do anything with Series 3 dash components, especially the stuff I've got that's red. So this is a mostly good red interior from the 99 car, which was a car that I had flares on. It was a really sweet one. But nice vents, all together, not cracked. Cluster switches, red, all together, not cracked. I think I have 2 or 3 of these. I don't even want to try to pick this up with one hand, but this is the center tombstone. I know one of them might have a small crack, like around one of these corners around the radio, but otherwise, like, center vents, perfect. Most of this all together with functional ashtrays. So if you need one of those, let me know, because I know I've got a couple of them. But red interior plastic. I know I mentioned in one of my other videos, like if somebody needs a cigarette lighter piece, I probably won't sell it to them, but this is a Series 3 one, so I definitely sell this one. I don't need a Series 3 one. So red, cruise control button, the whole 9. Need a sweet mirror, let me know. These are some red GSLSE seats. I think one of them's got a tear, but I'm definitely not going to use them. Oh yeah, get ready for all the first gen door creaks in this video. You guys have probably seen some of this stuff already. I won't open this, but those FD twins, those 2 sets in here that weren't very cracked, hey, let me know if you need those as well, or just want parts off of them, let me know. I think some of the lines are there. Go back in the video, you'll see it. Same with the divider flange, GSLSE manifold. That's a Courier cluster. This is going to be the next yard shredder. Oh yeah, look, there's another one right there. And like that one, broken right above the ashtray, but largely in good shape otherwise. Got a 6AL box in there. This is all of the FC components I basically have. I think Charles probably out FCs me in that he has a whole bunch of FC like engine parts, intake manifolds, injectors, and everything. So let me know FC engine parts. Not a whole lot of turbo stuff, but a lot of NA stuff. So Series 5, Series 4 NA stuff, which is probably not a common thing to use. But since turbo stuff's hard to get, that stuff might be a little more common. But on this FC, brake ducts, horns if you want them, I don't know. There's nothing here, really. Don't talk about my suspension components. Those are already spoken for. Other projects. This one is a fun story. Got this car. It got beat up by a baseball bat by the guy's girlfriend. So, look, baseball bat, baseball bat, baseball bat, baseball bat. Smashed in the door. She smashed the glass out of this thing. The front of it is beat up because I grabbed it with my tractor to move it, but it was already kind of dented. This sail panel was already jacked up, but this is a GSL SE. I pulled the suspension out of it. There's a guy up in Maryland that I shipped the rear axle to a while back just because it's extra stuff. This one's got a brown interior, so some of these components we might use for the brown on brown car up there, but otherwise, like, if you need a brown dash, let me know. Brown steering wheel, let me know. I can't guarantee the sanitariness of these parts, but I've got them. Same thing, brown vents. You know, this one sat out in the rain, obviously. Some sunroof hardware if you need one of these flapper-doos. I got the flapper-doos. Or even a sunroof seal. I might need that seal. Next on the list, stuff that's not for sale again. The yellow car, if you've seen this around, maybe a little bit. This is one that is kind of that future project I was alluding to that might get the BBS wheels or not, but this one is a true 78 Savannah GT from Japan. GT. No, I did not take my Savannah RX7 badges off of this car, but you can see where these badges were a 4-hole mount and where I had to cut 2 of these pins off to make them fit on my US fenders for the red car. Obviously the US conversion mirror here, which is a rather interesting piece. It's got these really sweet like wiper proper upper things for the winter, or like cleaning maybe. I should swipe those off for the red car just because it's neat. Some funky looking bumper cover. Fender mirror delete. Obviously that mirror. And then you can see right hand drive. Kind of a unique machine here. So 2-line interior, not the single bar, which is cool. But the Savannah GT was kind of a neat deal. This one definitely been repainted, but it was definitely a spark yellow car, all original, or at least originally spark yellow. So I'm excited to like restore this one back to crispy perfect, but this one will be one of those where, you know, full restoration, rotisserie, have it media blasted, fixed all the rust, put it back together, real mint. And then this one was fun, which the previous owner of this, I believe, watches the videos, but we traded some first generation RX7 interior parts for this mostly complete RX8. It had been hit in the front, some damage in the rear, no engine, no trans, but mostly complete interior. So this is a 04 Winning Blue Touring. Neat little machine. Would have had black leather. But good parts car. I scored some radio bits for my RX8 out of this thing, which pretty much just that in and of itself made it worth it. But you never know. RX8 parts can sometimes get hard to get because you have to buy a whole car to get parts. Most people don't want to part them out. They just want to like sell the whole thing, or vice versa. It can be tough to get parts. So good set of taillights though that I'll probably put on mine. And if you need RX8 stock wheels, let me know, because I think I've got a full set of them up there. Charles has like 2 or 3 full sets. So RX8 bits. Obviously, nothing on my rotary truck is for sale. That thing is mint. So, rotary truck chassis. You know, like, if you need a Watts link for a first gen, or even if you're a real sweet talking mastermind, you might be able to convince me to sell some GSL SE calipers, but you'd have to be a real sweet talker for that. And if you haven't noticed, I tend to prefer trading cool parts for other cool rare parts. Okay, so like I traded some lug nuts for a set of Savannah badges or whatever. So if you have something neat that you think I could use, and I have something that you could potentially use that's neat, let me know. The best way to get a hold of me by far is going to be message me on Instagram. You can comment on this video, but I wouldn't want to put like your contact information or mine in the comments of a YouTube video. So message me on Instagram, email. I'll put my email at the very end of this video, radpotential@gmail.com. message that email if you want, if you have inquiries about stuff for sale. And don't be some tire kicker guy that's just trying to, you know, send me a message or whatever. Like, be a serious, wanting to actually get something specific or whatever, and I can try to help you out. You know, my big thing about cars and about car people and selling parts and stuff in general is that I like helping people keep their cars alive. So a lot of these cars that are here, yeah, some of y'all be like, I would save it, or I could fix that one, or like whatever, but like that one I got for free. That one's been totaled by a girl. This one was smashed in the front end and wrecked. This one has no floors left in it. This car also has no floors. So like, I promise you, some of these look complete, but they're down here for a reason. And no, I won't sell any whole cars, so don't ask me that at all. But I like helping people keep their cars running, especially these weird and obscure old ones. And if I have some part that you can use, and obviously I don't need it, then let me know. So let's see what we got. But that's what I've been working on this week, guys. Overhauling the shop, setting up stuff in there for the next bit. I've been working on fixing the fuel system in the RX7, but you know, when I was building the car, I stacked a bunch of parts so I could get it all done fairly quickly. I broke some stuff, have to wait for it to come in. So next week, you know, after this video is coming out, you guys will start seeing the content on fixing the fuel system on that. So I got bigger injectors, change the fuel pump, doing some testing, etc., tuning, and we'll try to get that dialed so we can rip on it again. Because, you know, get this thing fixed, ripping, and keeping up with some big old touring cars on the track. So I am excited to keep pushing it. But with that, I'm going to end the video here. So welcome to kind of seeing a little bit more of the RAD Ranch in the daylight now that it's summertime, and get excited for a couple of these future projects. You know, 2 of these, maybe 3 of these chassis might be coming out of the parts yard retirement, and we'll get some stuff going. So with that, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Keep it rad. Get fired up for just get fired up for RX7s. Get fired up for rotary engines. Get fired up for doing cool stuff with your friends, building cool cars, and get fired up for good compression rotaries that start right up. And then also get fired up for having an empty truck bed, because that means I can do stuff like this without denting my bed. Truck, big hill. Peace, guys.